I'm not allowed to video, but you're making me wear a mask. Otherwise, you're gonna deny me service if I don't wear a mask. If you feel so unsafe walking around in society or even being in a hospital setting as a healthcare professional, you can put on a hazmat suit so you feel safe, okay? If the government wants people to feel safe, they can provide that kind of equipment, not these extremely questionable masks that infringe on my bodily autonomy and on my security of the person, okay? No, thank you.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto. And folks, before I get to my story today, if you can, please go to journalistdefensefund.com. That's journalistdefensefund.com. You know we love to bring you the other side of the story, but there are forces afoot that don't want us to do so, and sometimes they react violently, and that means we need bodyguards to protect our reporters and cameramen. So if you can make a donation so we can continue to bring you the other side of the story, that would be absolutely wonderful. Now, I am here in Toronto with Letitia Montana, who is rapidly becoming a household name. You see, Letitia last Saturday, she was at a freedom rally at Queen's Park. We've been covering several of those. She thought she had broken her finger. Turns out it was a sprain, but she had gone to St. Joseph's Hospital and she required assistance. And the nurse on staff said, you have to wear a mask as per hospital policy. And Letitia said, no. So let's find out how that went down and what the fallout has been. Okay, so Letitia, you thought you had broken your finger. Turns out, thankfully, that it was simply a sprain. You went to St. Joseph's Hospital, requiring some medical care, or at least to get a doctor to take a look at it. And then how did the conversation go with the nurse?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking, David, and thanks for allowing me to share my story. So essentially what happened was I went in earlier that evening. My son closed the car door on me, and I was in a lot of pain. My finger had swollen. I literally thought, okay, it might be broken. So I better go check it out. I knew the wait time wasn't going to be long in Emerge, because a month or two earlier during this whole COVID situation, I had passed by and I saw that the emergency ward was empty. So I figured, you know what, this should be a quick in and out. Let's just, maybe I'll get an x-ray. I figured they might have the machines there. Well, so I go in, and the welcome nurse asked me what I'm there for. Actually, she didn't even ask me what I was there for. She offered me a mask before giving me a number, kind of the triage number. So, and she said, they're going to make you put it on. And I was like, okay, thinking to myself that I'm not going to put it on because I don't believe in using a mask and covering my face and my breathing. But anyway, I go sit out in the waiting area. Within less than a minute, my number gets called up. This was the fastest emergency wait line in my entire life. In the past, I've gone to various hospitals in the GTA, and there were roomfuls of people in ER, as many of us would have experienced. So anyway, I get called up. The triage nurse tells me that I have to put on a mask. I'm like, really? Yeah, you have to put on the mask, and Ministry of Health policy. And that's when I pulled out my camera and I said, say that again, please. And I recorded her. It was a 30-second recording of me being so surprised because, and immediately afterwards, the welcome nurse, who is the nurse that is shown standing in the video next to me, she confirmed the Ministry of Health policy. That, basically no mask, no service.
And by the way, if I can interject, Letitia, what is your fundamental issue with wearing masks? I know when we look at these rallies on Queen's Park on Saturday, there is a group there. They wear T-shirts, hugs, not masks. They're hugs over masks. They're very anti-mask. So, two-part question: what is your issue with wearing a mask? And B, was it not possible for you to make a temporary exemption in order to get health care?
No, thanks for asking, David. I mean, my concern with that is, I've seen videos online where using OSHA-approved monitors, and OSHA is the sort of like the equivalent of the WSIB in the US, the Labor Health Authority, and they have certain OSHA-approved oxygen monitors that you can purchase, and they're not inexpensive, okay? And some people have purchased them, where you can use, and they can be used in workplaces where people have to wear masks. And what I've seen was multiple videos of people putting on the OSHA meter, and within seconds of putting on a mask, oxygen levels drop down into the danger zone, and the meter starts beeping, okay?
And Letitia, if I may, do you have any kind of medical condition that prevents you from wearing a face mask? I know with the face mask laws that we've seen put into place in certain municipalities, if you're under 2 years of age and you have some kind of medical issue, you're exempt. So you're obviously not 2 years of age, but are you exempt for any health reason?
Well, I mean, the only health reason I can think of is that it does impede my breathing, and I find it extremely uncomfortable, extremely hard to breathe with a mask on. And I find it a complete infringement on my bodily autonomy and my own health and my own well-being. And if we're going to talk about charter rights, this is an infringement on my security, freedom to security of the person. Me being asked to put on an item on my face that has the potential to put my own life at threat. And you know what? I've heard all the arguments of people telling me, how come doctors and nurses wear them for 8 hours a day and nothing happens to them? If you want to wear a mask, that is your prerogative. And if your occupation requires you to wear a mask, that again is your prerogative to work in an occupation that requires you a mask. And even with the bylaw that's coming to effect in Toronto, people have a right to health-based exemptions, okay? And that's a separate conversation. But my greatest shock was that in my exercising, my right to my bodily autonomy and protecting my own health from perceived risks that have been confirmed by scientific studies, the oxygen, the impediment of oxygen absorption with masks, okay? That's my biggest concern, the threat to my own health. Number two, I mean, there's also a lot of research about the fact that the masks, it says right on the box that they don't prevent the spread of COVID-19. So for me, beyond the potential health risk to myself, we're talking about why should I put on this thing on my face that is absolutely useless, okay?
But Letitia, if I may though, and you can see by my face, I'm not wearing a mask. I find them hideously uncomfortable. I kind of I have my questions about the science behind wearing these non-medical masks as well. However, if I were in your shoes that day, I've got this throbbing finger, maybe broken, maybe it's because I'm such a wimp to pain. In the spirit of reasonable accommodation for half an hour, 40 minutes, however long it was going to take to fix your finger, would it have been too much to ask just to wear a mask for that temporary period?
I mean, that's a good question, David, and I've asked myself that same question, because if I had a more serious health condition, if I had a broken leg, I guess I would have had no choice, right? But this is a very, very ethically questionable situation to put a Canadian in, to have them choose between essentially potentially further endangering, further compromising their own health. I want to let you know, David, that I've had people tell me that as asthma sufferers who already have trouble breathing, they were told that if you don't put a mask on, the doctor is not going to see you, okay? In health clinics in Canada, okay? Friends of mine, they're telling me, they told me that if you don't put a mask on, the doctor is not going to see you. Asthma sufferers, okay? This is unacceptable that people are being subjected to this, and if you're not going to put it on, and by the way, since my story came out, other people have come out and told me, I went for a medical imaging appointment, I was told that no mask, no service. So essentially, we're in a situation right now where healthcare, public taxpayer-funded healthcare is being denied to Canadian citizens because we are refusing to put on something on our face that can potentially endanger, further compromise our own health, especially people that have serious pre-existing health conditions. So within 30 seconds of my recording that 30-second video, 3 buff security guards showed up, very intimidating, ready to escort me out. And they told me that, you can leave. If you don't put on the mask, you can leave. And literally they started telling me, leave now. Do you want that? Or otherwise we can call the police on you to arrest you. And they're telling me, do you want to be arrested with your son? Like, what kind of, this very intimidating security guard, I wish I could have gotten on camera, but I was told that I'm not allowed to film inside a hospital. That's a different story. It wasn't my intention to, and I've been accused that I was trying to shame the healthcare workers. That was absolutely not my intention. I want to set the record straight. I had no intention of shaming anybody. I was simply recording what I was being told because I felt it was important for Canadians to know that if you don't put on a mask, you will be denied healthcare in the emergency department at a hospital. This is okay. So
And you know what? Right now, Letitia, let's throw to a clip of what you recorded and check it out.
Areas of the hospital.
say that again, please.
In the hospital.
It's a. Why am I not allowed to video? I'm not allowed to video, but you're making me wear a mask. If otherwise, you're gonna deny me service if I don't wear a mask.
We're asking you.
I'm at St. Joseph's Hospital. They're telling me that if I don't wear a mask, they're not gonna assist me. They want me to leave. Whose policy is that?
Ministry of Health.
Ministry of Health policy.
Okay, so there we had a brief interaction with the nurse, and then you were given the bums rush by security. You know, this has been a chapter of your life where you've taken an empowered, principled stand, and despite some of the very nasty fallout, you're happy you did so.
That's a beautiful question, David. And how I choose to live my life is that there's a bright side to every. There's a silver lining to every cloud, and I actually see this as an opportunity. Now that I have all this media attention and all this attention, I see this as an opportunity to, at least to some extent, educate people on something other than what the mainstream media has been pushing all along.
Well, Letitia, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for making time for us. And please, by all means, if you do proceed with a civil action, let us know. We would surely like to cover that. In the meantime, mask or no mask, stay safe, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks, David. All the best. Thank you guys for all you do.
If you can, please go to journalistdefensefund.com. That's journalistdefensefund.com. You know we love to bring you the other side of the story, but there are forces afoot that don't want us to do so, and sometimes they react violently, and that means we need bodyguards to protect our reporters and cameramen. So if you can make a donation so we can continue to bring you the other side of the story, that would be absolutely wonderful.